You son of a b****. Edward Diego is the toughest one-on-one fight in the game, by far. And if you are going for the
finish him
achievement, you have to take him down using only the laser Rapier, a powerful weapon with one major drawback. You have to stay really close to deal damage, a melee weapon, against a walking tank with rockets. Obviously, the easiest way might be just stun low Diego with EMP grenades and hit him in the face until he's done. But where is the nobility in hitting unconscious man? Would you be proud to win a running competition against a guy in a wheelchair? Probably yes, but such behavior could be a little bit out of widely accepted standards. Anyway, we need to come up with another plan. And let's be honest, this is a war between you and Shodan.
When my cyborgs bring you to an electrified interrogation bench,
I will have your secrets.
and you will learn more about pain than you ever wanted to know.
And Diego is nothing but a pawn in this big game between you two.
There is a demonstration of my loyalty. I offer to you the remaining human scum undermine your reign.
So, if it is a war, we need to use an appropriate approach, both effective and elegant. So only Diego will be the one who is judged, because he brought the gun into the sword fight. So we'll use the single most renowned source of knowledge about the warfare, the art of war. If you are not familiar, the art of war is a military treatise written by Chinese military strategist Sun Tzu, somewhere in 5th century BC. The art of war still remains one of the most influential works on strategy of all time. So if we need to win a fight in a war, this might provide us with some insights. So let's check the famous quotes from the art of war.
If you know the enemy and know yourself, you need not fear the result of 100 battles. If you know yourself but not the enemy, for every victory gained you will also suffer a defeat. If you know neither the enemy nor yourself, you will succumb in every battle.
Sounds smart. Let's follow. Vice President of Citadel Station and Executive of Trioptium Corporation, and Shonan's biggest simp. During the game, you have to fight him 3 times in total, and each time his arsenal and stats are slightly changes. In the final encounter, he is a walking tank with an impressive health pool of 1200 HP. For comparison, mutated cyborg has 430, and Contact Sphere has 1000 exactly. Additionally, Diego has armor value of 100, damage reflecting shield, and 200 energy to maintain that shield. So with no doubt, Diego is the most durable enemy in the game. As a drawback, Diego is a slow walker. He moves slowly and on a short distances, relying on his teleport ability to change his position. When it comes to his weaponry, Diego has a versatile set of weapons that allows him to be effective in any situation. A pair of rocket launchers, each firing 4 rockets per volley. Each rocket deals 50 damage, and volley in general can cover a significant area. The plasma cannon in his right hand is used for mid to close range. Each projectile deals 30 damage. Not a lot, but it is compensated by the high fire rate. System Shock Wiki mentions that cannon also can do a strong shot, but personally I wasn't able to determine neither animation or appearance of strong projectile. An electric arc cannon similar to the one that Cyborg Quarter and Security Bot 2 have, except that Diego's one has a devastating amount of damage, 140 to be precise, which can take 2/3 of your total health bar. In fight, Diego will rain you with his rockets if you stay far enough or behind the obstacles. On open he will shoot with plasma, and finally in close he will roast you with his arc. And do you remember the shield I've mentioned? Rockets can be dodged, plasma DPS is more than manageable, and arc has a limited range. But shield is pain. If you just run in and swing your weapon when the shield is active, this will happen. And the most annoying part, it's tricky to tell when exactly it works. Sometimes it reflects damage, sometimes not. There is one correlation I found, but I'll tell you about it later. For now, let's examine what we have. By this point of the game, you should have everything this game could offer in terms of equipment. First of all, laser Rapier. It is one of the strongest weapons in the game in general, and the strongest melee one by far, with 90 damage with a regular swing, and 150 with a strong one, with 80 and 90 armor penetration attack. The only downside is that Rapier consumes energy for every hit, so you need to be mindful about your energy capacity to not find yourself in a tricky situation. Consumables are important and could turn the tables if chosen and applied properly. Medipatches and first aid kit are your only way to heal from this point of the game, so we want to save as much as possible. A stamina up stimulant gives you an infinite amount of stamina for roughly 1 minute, so you can run and swing your weapon tirelessly. As a nice bonus, it also increases HP by 20. It isn't a lot, but still something. Berserk Combat Booster increases melee attack speed by 50% and damage by 100, but only for 30 seconds. It also can be stacked, but each next stack will have a half efficiency, so it's better to apply the next patch only after the previous one runs out completely. Reflex Reaction 8 slows down the world, so you have a little bit more time to react to things. It's a strange one honestly, and it has almost no actual use, but in this particular fight it can make it a little easier to dodge Diego's attacks. Aside from items, we also have a couple useful cybernetic implants. That is a huge help. Turbo motion boots allow you to run really fast, and from level 2 it also provides you with ability to fly, or at least to glide in the air. The energy shield reduces the damage you take in exchange for, well, the energy. The target identifier is a useful tool that provides you with information about the enemy's remaining health. And at level 3 it also marks enemies' weak spots, so you can do extra damage while hitting them.
We are not fit to lead an army on the march, unless we are familiar with the face of the country.
It is a small room if you compare it to the previous places we fought Diego. The room can be separated on 3 levels: low, mid, and high grounds. You might tell that the high difference is not that big, but it's big enough to be considered. The low ground is located in the center of the room and connected to the mid ground with 3 ramps. The mid ground covers the center and area around the side walls. Following it by the sides, you can use ramps to climb the high ground. The high ground is located on the farthest from the entrance side of the room. It's a quite narrow, so not a lot of space to run around. Not to forget about another notable feature of this location: pillars. It is total 6 of them, and they have one unique thing about them. They can be destroyed, so they are not as reliable cover as it might look at the first sight.
In order to carry out an attack, we must have means available.
We need to set up our quick bar before the fight starts. I suggest the following composition: Rapier in slot 1, Berserker Patch, Energy Cell, and First Aid Kit in respective consumable slots. We take only First Aid Kit for healing because Medipatch applies its healing effect on the duration, and we don't have time to wait, because it also wastes our other patches. Obviously, it also means that we do not have a right to make a mistake when we engage with half HP bar. The Berserk patch directly increases our damage and, as much important, attack speed. But because of the short duration, there is a high chance we will have to refresh it during the fight. And since Rapier requires energy to deal damage, and we will have our implants activated as well, we want to have a quick access to energy cells so we can recharge ourselves as needed. And about the reflex patch, it is 100% possible to complete the fight without it, but extra time for reaction would be helpful, so I recommend to use it as well. As I mentioned, Diego lost his mobility as a result of his cybernetic ascension, so we will heavily rely on the tuba motion boots, since it increases our ability to dodge the fire, quickly shorten a distance to strike, and adversely increase it to avoid an electric arc. The last part is especially important, because we have 0 chances to survive our 2 sequential attacks in melee. Obviously, we must have our shield to be constantly enabled as well. As we enter the room, we need to be fully healed and charged. Then we must activate the booster and the shield, apply stamina and berserker patch. As the last preparation step, we grab Reflexes patch in our hand. And do not forget to drop a save, so you don't need to repeat all actions again. Diego starts on the high ground, and usually greets us with a rocket volley. Sometimes he starts with a plasma rifle, but we can hide behind the pillar to avoid the fire. We need to run fast along the wall, preferably the right one. While doing so, after the cutscene have completed, we apply the reflex patch and swap to the Rapier. Our destination is the ramp that connects mid and high ground.
So in war, the way is to avoid what is strong and to strike at what is weak.
Here I need you to recall the information about the shield I told earlier. You see, after the countless tries, I found that the shield doesn't work when Diego attacks you. So, as crazy as it sounds, we must attack him when he attacks us. As we know, Diego has 3 weapons in his arsenal. We definitely want to avoid the arc because of its high damage, which can drain us for healing or most likely just kill. Rockets are much more manageable in terms of damage, but we can trigger them only when we're stealing far enough, and it's impossible for the most of the time to shorten the distance before Diego stops firing. But Plasma Gun is a different story. It has a decent fire rate, but damage is relatively low. Plus, Diego usually stops shooting when you jump in his face. Is he weak when he's firing it? Not really. But relatively to other things, yes. So, this is our metaphor attack.
Move not unless you see an advantage.
As we reach the ramp, we need to stop and wait until Diego prepares to start shooting. You can determine his intention by his right hand rising and by a specific sound effect. This is our chance to engage and land 2 hits at least. You can try to do 3, but remember that usually Diego will stop fire plasma and use the arc to melt you. So you need to retreat before he'll do it. The best retreat position is the opposite ramp, because if he was too aggressive and received a light in your face, you can use a pillar and the high ground itself to hide and heal. I would not recommend to stay on the high ground proper, because Diego might teleport in your face and press against the wall, which almost guarantees reload.
Let your rapidity be that of the wind, immovability like a mountain.
From now on, we need to keep our distance and bait Diego to start shooting. Sometimes he'll just walk around waiting for you to engage. Do not attack, because he's intending to use an arc, and with a good chance has his shield activated. It is very tempting to do so, but I died so many times because of that.
Show me your blood.
Country in which there are precipitous cliffs, deep natural hollows, and crevasses should be left with all possible speed and not approached.
Remember about room's layout. Even so, the low ground in the middle can be used as a cover to heal, recharge and update patches. It also has spots that could block your movement, so you won't be able to leave it quickly. Columns are much more preferable cover in most situations, just remember that they can be destroyed. Also, when Diego stands on the ramp, be extremely cautious, since uphill acceleration a bit slower and you have no other way to repeat backward. Boosters can be also used to jump over the middle hole if Diego teleports on another side. Just do not catch too many rockets in your face. You must monitor your health and energy. It is better to take your time and refresh yourself if health below half and energy is about 1/3. And do not forget that Berserk duration is twice shorter compared to other patches, and we need this extra damage and attack speed.
To secure ourselves against defeat lies in our own hands, but the opportunity of defeating the enemy is provided by the enemy himself.
In general, Diego will always stop to shoot plasma and switch to the arc as you come closer. But there is a situation, not so rare actually, when he will be confused by your assault and just standing and receive hits from you. This is the best opportunity to deal as much damage as possible. But be cautious. Monitor his left hand movement and the sound of the arc, because greed can be very costly. When I fought Diego with only Rapier for the first time, it was miserable. What the fuck? Oh! Why did I receive that damage? It felt so unfair with his arc and this stupid reflective shield. But after defeating him so many times, I can say this is the most interesting and engaging fight in the entire game. Yes, sometimes Diego bugs out and becomes invisible. Yes, your own greed or stupid decisions can kill you. Oh! But nonetheless, the sheer satisfaction of beating Diego, yes, it was worth all the struggles.